Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I do not have a haul video for you guys on Fridays like I normally do. I told you guys how because of football right now, that is sort of changing, and that Valley Produce and Caputo's I'm going to do on Thursday, and then Jewel, Walgreens, and Aldi I'm going to do tomorrow. So I'll have that haul for you guys tomorrow. I have my list done, so planning on going there. And then on Sunday, I actually started working on my Target list already, going to Target, CVS, and Walgreens. So yeah, Target looks like actually I've got, might actually do one of the gift card deals. It runs 2 weeks. It's like spend 40 on beauty products, I think, like beauty personal care maybe or something like that, and if you spent 40 you got a $10 gift card. And there was a couple deals I was actually planning on doing for this week anyway, regardless of that, and I get up to like I think $20 or almost $30 anyway without that. So I was like, I could definitely get up to that $40, just find a couple extra things and then be able to get back that $10 gift card also. So anyways, and it looks like my store has, because the gift card deal is running for 2 weeks, so like some of the stuff might have been out, so like people might have been doing some of those deals this week, but they should have them available also next week. And it looks like my store is pretty much in stock too. Anyways, guys, yes though, but it is later in the afternoon. Have any quick videos or anything like that to share with you guys from the football game, because we didn't end up going. My mom was not feeling the best. She was not going to end up going, and I told you guys that yesterday. She probably knew that she wasn't going to be able to, and we should, like, you know, be able to go next week. The other thing too was that it was an away game, and they are, well, for all of the games, both are home and away games. I believe they're doing it the same way, where parents are like, students are not students, players I guess, are only getting 2 tickets for like, you know, parents basically to come to the game, so that they don't have too many people that are going, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And my dad said that there was a good amount of parents that were there, like maybe about 20 people, but again, it is a little bit different just because of COVID. They can't have, you know, just like, oh, bring as many people as you want kind of thing. They do have to have it limited. So since my dad and Matthew are both coaches and Jack is playing, we're still able to actually all go and see the football game, because only 2 people that need tickets are just me and my mom. But again, because it was an away game, Matthew was gonna have to drive, and drive me, and then I was, again, because it's not our home stadium, I was a little like, okay, I don't necessarily know what to expect as far as the, you know, protocols, I guess, and all that kind of stuff that sort of go into it as well, of, you know, the tickets and all that kind of stuff, obviously masking, wearing, and all that kind of stuff. But like, you know, I didn't really know necessarily to, like, are they going to do a specific, like, you know, just it not being our home stadium, I didn't know if, like, okay, because it's home, you have to come in from this side, or if you're away family, like if they were splitting stuff up, because I remember the field that we would have gone to today, but again, it was just sort of a weird, like, I don't know, if it was home I would have felt more comfortable, like, okay, I know where I'm going and all that kind of stuff. But if it was away, it would have been, again, you know, just another extra thing, and going by myself. So I was like, since my mom's not going either, I think I'll just stay, you know, home and get to watch the film afterwards though, because Jack, you know, gets to see the film after the game anyway. And I heard that they were streaming though the varsity game, which was kind of cool. They actually used to do that in like my maybe my junior year. I think they streamed one home game or one away game, and it was like, you know, sort of special because streaming was not that popular like when I was in high school like it is now, where church services and, you know, concerts, literally your school classes and all that kind of stuff is literally streamed over everything, you know, like live, and so that was kind of like, you know, a cool weird thing that was not all of too super common when I was in high school. But I do remember that there was one away game, because I think it was sort of the same thing, like out of the 8 games or whatever, I think only 2 of them were away that year, or 3 or something like that, and one of those was actually streamed, which was again sort of like a weird thing to have at that time. But that is again sort of cool for, again, those families that don't get to bring, you know, or, you know, they're only get to have 2 people, you know, be able to go to the games, so that you can still watch it, because he played linebacker and then also center as well, which is funny because when he played youth football, we tried so hard to get him to play center, and it was just not like he wasn't aggressive enough. And finally his last year of youth football was when he finally all of a sudden got this aggressiveness. And then the last like 2 years of high school, well, last year and this year I guess, of high school football now, he's been very aggressive, actually wanting to make tackles. He plays defense, you know, and being aggressive enough to not just get shoved backwards on offense. So they ended up winning though, guys. My dad said it was like heart pounding all the way down to the last minutes of the game. They ended up winning, I think 14-8 was the final score. So I was like, that's awesome. I think that was, like I said, the final score or something like that. Or maybe 16-8. See, I don't know. I think it was 14-8 is what they said they won by. So I think maybe they missed an extra point, and or maybe the last touchdown they didn't even need to get the extra point or something. I don't know. But I do believe it ended in regulation time, so they should have still ended up going for it, unless it was on the last play of the game, which I also don't think that happened, from what my dad was saying. And so yeah, but they ended up winning. The defense actually, my dad texted me at halftime and said it was 8-8, and that the defense actually scored their touchdown, and then they, or got them like in like within the red zone or something like that, and then they ended up scoring. And then for the last game, or last touchdown, they ended up, you know, I think the offense scored it, because I was like, was Jack in when they ended up scoring the touchdown on offense, you know, because he's center. So I was like, that has to hopefully, you know, mean that he was doing at least a good job, because it's weird. I just don't really see him like being a center, because we tried that before, you know, and so, you know, my dad was like, no, he's like really good. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I only saw him like last year again as like linebacker, and like he'd make tackles, but like, I don't know, it's still weird. I still see him as like that scared little kid in youth football that almost didn't want to touch anybody. It was sort of how he played. So yeah, it's like I said, cool to see him as, you know, a sort of, I guess, somewhat dominant player on the team. It's kind of cool. But I guess I'll find out personally in the watching, seeing if they have the film up tomorrow. So anyways, there was that. But while I was home, guys, when I didn't go to the football game, literally about the time they left, which is around 2 or 3 o'clock maybe, I think they left to go to the high school. From that time on until they got home at about 7 o'clock. I was cooking up freezer dinners. I ended up making 9 freezer dinners. Most of them not completely from scratch, but like a lot more than like I just threw ingredients in a bag. Like, I mean, I still did that, but it was a little bit more like I cut up vegetables. I did like a lot of like more like, I call those elaborate freezer dinners. It's not like I just did salsa chicken and well, I did do salsa chicken, but sometimes my salsa chicken is just I take a chicken breast and a jar of salsa and throw it in a bag and throw it in the freezer. I added taco seasoning, and I also added fresh bell peppers, and I cut up all the bell peppers. I did 2 of those freezer dinners because I bought that chicken breast last week, and the sell-by date was actually yesterday. So I was like, okay, we're still good because the sell-by date is still within a day. So, and then I did 3 of those chicken, like chicken pot pie, crock pot sort of meals with, you do like biscuits a lot of times over the top. It's sort of like, some people do it as a soup, or like more of like, you know, it's just sort of like a thick sort of, I guess, like gravy, like casserole almost sort of thing, and then you just do it with the biscuit sort of. So that, it was chicken breast. I used 10 ounces, because the way I did it was I got 1 carton of chicken broth, and that's 32 ounces. And so I split that up across 3 bags, so it was about 10 ounces. Or I don't even know what that equates to cup-wise. But I think a full cup is 16, that's a pound. I'm not totally sure actually, guys. Anyways, it was 10 ounces. That's what I ended up using. 1 can of cream of chicken soup. I cut up fresh carrots, celery, and also onion, and added frozen peas as well. thought there was maybe one other thing, maybe not. But then when I go to cook it, I'm going to add potatoes and then also the biscuits at the end. It's just, I don't like freezing potatoes. Potatoes sometimes turn really weird and sort of brown. The same with carrots, I think, because they're a root vegetable, so when you freeze them and then they get exposed to the air again, they get really kind of funky and they turn colors. I don't necessarily think they taste weird, but they just look weird, and I think that's because of, again, the you know, them being absorbed and frozen sort of, and then like defrosting, they look kind of weird afterwards. The only trick I've noticed to that is if you leave them completely submerged in a liquid when you're cooking them, then they don't change color. But if you do and they're like sort of out of like the liquid, if it was like doing these pot pies, if I had them where like some of them weren't, you know, in the liquid were exposed, then they would turn, that part would turn brown. The rest of it would be okay. But I just like doing it where I freeze them or don't freeze them with the actual meal and just add them in later. Also, guys, while I was cooking those things, I was jamming out and singing really loud to my music, and my voice is like gone right now. So pardon me. But then I also, that ground beef that I just bought yesterday at Caputo's, I made into 4 freezer dinners as well. I had those 4 cans of Campbell's tomato soup, and I also have 4 cans of, that I got at Sale Valley Produce a while ago, like maybe about a month ago, and then the Campbell's cheddar cheese soup, which I got on sale at after, like, I think it was the Checkout 51 offer or something like that, or maybe an Ibotta offer at Walmart, which wasn't like the best sale, but I told you guys I knew I was going to need it because I was going to do these freezer dinners. I got those at a okay, I guess, price, and then added the ground beef, and in total I made 4 of those freezer dinners, so I used like 4 pounds of ground beef, 4 cans of each, but it equates down to being 1 pound of ground beef, 1 can of tomato soup, 1 can of cheddar cheese soup, and then I froze it and browned the ground beef first, but then froze it, and then we'll do those over, like add pasta to them once I cook it, which when I cook pre-ground ground beef, it honestly takes just about an hour or 2 once it's just sort of defrosted and warmed up. You know, it doesn't have to be recooked again because the ground beef is already cooked, so it's just like it needs to just be warmed up. So that can honestly sometimes take between an hour, 2 hours on high in the crock pot, so that's like a really fast, like, oh, we're gonna actually do this for dinner tonight because we forgot to make something or whatever. So, and then just add pasta over the top, like, once it's done cooking. You could pre-make the pasta and freeze it with it as well, and then I would personally probably cook it in the oven instead of the crock pot, just because I don't like to add pre-cooked noodles to crock pot. I think they get sort of like mushy. But and I would do it with tin foil too. Once I got all of that stuff, you know, pretty much all those freezer dinners made, I also added celery to the chicken pot pie stuff as well. So I cleaned out a bunch of stuff in the fridge because obviously I used up a lot of the produce too. I cut up a bunch of produce. Like I cut up all the bell peppers and then used some for the salsa chicken as well. So I did, again, a bunch of that stuff. But our pantry now, actually, there's like almost a whole shelf that's sort of empty because of all the stuff that was on there that I ended up using, and also realizing that some of it had just all like jars of things had just tipped over and were sideways and weren't actually stacked. So once I sort of realigned everything, and also used up a lot of the stuff that I had in the pantry, which was stuff, again, I knew I had in the pantry, I just need to wait for the meat to go on sale. Chicken breast on sale last week, ground beef on sale this week. I had a couple freezer dinners that I could make with that stuff, obviously. So that was really awesome. Got to use up some of that stuff in the pantry, that we have some more room in there. We have less room in the freezer, which isn't good, but the fridge also got cleaned out too because I used up both big packages of meat, also a lot of the produce. Plus I cut up a lot of the produce, like I was saying, like the bell peppers, now they're all cut up in a Tupperware instead of just weird, you know, shaped bell peppers kind of all stacked on top of each other. They're in a nice little, you know, Tupperware sort of food storage container thingy in the fridge. So yeah, that was what I spent most of my day doing today while they were all gone. And then when they came back, I ended up working on my Jewel and Aldi list. And did a lot of Walmart. And then we ended up watching the The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is actually also cool, guys. Side note, there was some German speaking in the first episode, and originally I didn't pick up on it because I don't want to spoil anything, but they weren't in Germany speaking German, so I didn't originally pick up on it. But all of a sudden I heard them say money in German, and I was like, I know what that is. And then as I continued to listen, I was like, they are speaking in German. And so I've actually then, like, going back sort of and realizing what was being said, and also some of the actual words that were being shown, I was like, they are speaking German, like that's all German. And I realized sort of what was going on without actually having to read it with the English subtitle at the bottom, because they do put that up there for you, obviously. But I was like, I just actually was able to understand everything that just happened, not in English. I was like, that is pretty cool. Every word that they said, I knew what it was. So it was kind of cool. I've learned German enough that I've actually been able to, again, pick up on what things people are saying at, like, let's call it normal speaking speed, which is kind of cool, guys, because I really thought that I was like, if people are talking, I would never be able to understand, like, and I would have to be like, please speak slower, which I could sort of say that in German, but I probably have to ask people to talk like really slow so I could understand what they're saying. And I was like, no, that was a full speed sentence. And again, a couple of other words that were thrown in there as well that I was able to understand, and was pretty cool. So we watched that, then I finished up my Walmart list. Not really too much again going on at Walmart. There looks like, again, there'll be more stuff going on actually at Target. So my Ibotta offer is $10 back when I spend, or when I get 40 rebate offers. So I'm thinking I'll probably, as long as Jewel works out well, I should have about 5+ at Jewel, almost 10 maybe at Walmart, and then probably 5 or more actually at Target, again, if everything goes well. So I'm looking at being close to 20 this week, and then if I can get the other 20 next week, we should be in good shape, and I should actually be able to get that $10 rebate back, which would be pretty cool. You know, if I'm like this week, you know, a bunch of stuff falls through and I'm just nowhere close to it, I won't even try for it next week. But you know, if, like I said, I can get at least a good portion of the stuff that I'm planning on anyway for this week and can get to that, then next week I should be able to get it as well. And I always look at it like, okay, if it's 40 offers, I'm going to try and split it and do like 20 and 20 then, because it runs for 2 weeks long. So, and then I saw something, I think at Walgreens, I might have another offer for there too. But I was working on some of that. Again, I can finish that up for Sunday tomorrow, like Sunday stuff. But I really didn't spend any time doing anything that was not productive. But I woke up insanely late today, but still had a very, very productive day, which is really awesome. I also edited one vlog, wanted to get to 2, but again, it was sort of like I either edit a vlog or I don't do my grocery list, and I have to make sure I get to the store tomorrow morning. So you know, at least if I can do 1 again tomorrow, or even maybe get to 3, that would be awesome, and then sort of not have lost any, you know, like I've been editing 2 a day, I think, every day so far this week. So I really wanted to try and do that today too, but I always give myself a little leniency on the weekends, and I consider Friday sort of the start to weekend. So sometimes I don't always get a whole ton of stuff, because like Matthew's back home today, and again, you know, we wanted to hear what Jack's football game was all about. So like if I wouldn't have done some of those things, I might have had enough time to edit another one. But again, that's sort of the trade-off you get sometimes, is like, where do you want to spend your time getting what stuff done? So anyways, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.